You see, a good friend is one who wants you to have more goodness, more blessing, more loveliness. His joy is that you have more. It's the opposite of what we've thought of as selfishness. It's still a selfishness, but it's a heavenly selfishness. But his joy is in you having more. Not himself. That's not quite true. Your having more is his joy. He has more joy as he sees you have more. He loves you, you see. Do you see how you can want that? As part of your very self. Your self's been extended. We call that selflessness. There's an unhappy extreme where you forever deny yourself that they may have more. And let me pause and think. How could that be his joy? That is a cost to him. It's a delusion, you see. It's a terrible mistake. So a great misunderstanding. So the pure Buddhist approach is that he cannot put you or himself first, or you or himself second to the other. It's the same self. It's actually, well, it's the same self in that regard. But you're still individual, separate selves, so there can be no love between you. You see, the lovely thing about love is that it's of equal concern and consideration for the other person. And when that is reciprocated, well, we have a blessed fellowship, don't we? We don't just have love one for another. We now have a fellowship. They are in unity of purpose. They are more creative than ever. Thank you, Heavenly Father. What a beautiful creation you've made. What a lovely fellowship you give us. Lovely to be part of your family, Father. Just lovely. Thank you, Dad. Now, when a couple fall in love, it's doesn't approach an equilibrium. These feedback effects of my being happier, that you being more happy, and you being happier, that I'm more happy. If the feedback coefficient is less than 1, then it approaches a stable equilibrium. But if the feedback coefficient is greater than 1, by which I mean, if you get more joy out of the other person having an increase in joy than they have of the increase, And they likewise then respond to the fact that your joy has increased. But they respond more in joy than you do. And you likewise to them. Then of course we explode to infinity. And they touch. Wow. The unspeakable, cannot be said in words. Escalation to infinity of joy. Bliss. We could call it bliss. But bliss is like the word eternity. There is no boundary to it. It's like the universe expanding into space. There is no limit. There's the notion that there's no limit. Because to say there is no limit makes no sense. But somehow it does have a meaning that's important to us. So we talk about an infinite number. It's not the same at the other end. Nothing of something is simply its absence. There is no part there. But an infinite amount of something means there is no limit to the amount that's there. Which, of course, doesn't seem a very likely condition, even conceivable condition. Yet somehow it has meaning. Isn't that strange? But to return to where I was. When two fall in love with each other, we don't just meet a stable fellowship of loving kindness towards each other and cooperation. We meet with a fusion of the two of them. I think they become one person. So that the two become one in marriage. In this way. If you now consider the notion of divorce, separation, it's the death of both of them. Perhaps that death results in new life. Perhaps not. Or at least not in this particular incarnation, this life, if you like. Perhaps. But perhaps. But do you see how terrible it is? Divorce is to kill someone. The oneness that they had. Don't get me wrong, may have been killed already by perceived unkindness, perhaps even on both sides. In which case, divorce is just the recognition of a death. So for the hardness of your hearts, we have divorce. The hardness is not in wanting the divorce. The hardness is in death of your relationship that seems to have come about. Terrible sadness. Terrible, terrible sadness, that is. Not the divorce, but the loss of love, the loss of oneness, the death of that which was beautiful. And it's spelt out in the children's lives, except you both come to their rescue in every way that you find possible. Bless you. I speak from experience. I've been divorced at least 3 times, perhaps more in reality. I've changed my name accordingly on 3 occasions. I haven't let go of my last name though. Hope. But hope has fulfillment. I may change my name yet. Again. Yeah, but this is an aside, isn't it? Let me pause there and review. Yes. What happens when you love God? Well, you reach this oneness with an eternity, an integrity that is what integrity is, and you become part of it. I remind you that we may hold our individuality, that we continue to be a source of love to our beloved forever. That the two of us as one be never alone as one, but a plurality. And that's what the family is, you see. It's a plurality of, ideally, distinct individuals held in the bond of love forever. A harmony of individuals, a oneness of a family. Simply beautiful. Simply beautiful. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you, Dad.